Hey guys, so I'm coming at you with, I think it's my fourth anti-haul, can't remember, but this is gonna be like, I don't want this to be a long one, but I have a feeling it's gonna be kind of long. Like, I'm looking at my list right now on screen and I'm just kind of like, maybe I need to cut it, I don't know, but we'll just see how it goes. So I'm just gonna jump straight into it. So the first thing is the Foreo eye bag massager. This just looks so crazy. I'm gonna put a picture up here. Like, look at it, it just looks really strange. I don't know, like that little hole bit is supposed to go like around your eye, and it does like this really weird movement, and it's supposed to like get rid of bags under your eyes, and I'm just really not too sure if that is something that's going to work. I mean, sometimes I wake up with eye bags, sometimes I don't. I do try to get to bed at a reasonable time so that I don't have eye bags as much, but it's never guaranteed. I mean, like, come on. But this thing just looks like it's a device just for the sake of having a device to make money. That's what it comes like. When I first saw it, I can't remember who I saw with it. It may have just been on Instagram, but it just looks crazy, and it's just not something I can get behind at all. Sorry. Next is the Pure My Little Pony collection. It kind of looks like the Trolls one. It's very, very similar to the Trolls one, and you lot already know how I feel about like these kind of palettes. I mean, I think it was Lorac who had like Beauty and the Beast and Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Pure have come out with Trolls and now My Little Pony. It's just a little bit like, it's so, to me, it's really, it looks like kid makeup. It looks like child makeup, like the kind of things that your mum might pick up for you randomly if you're going into a shop and you know you're 5. That's how it kind of looks. I'm just not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it. So any palette that kind of looks like this, I'm just gonna be going, no. I mean, I'm into cute, like, as you guys know, Too Faced is definitely one of my favorite makeup brands, but I can take their stuff seriously because there is an element of cute as well as a little bit of sophistication as well. This just looks it's just too on the cutesy wootsy side. It's just not for me at all. I mean, if these things are for you, that's great, but the whole point in these videos, as I've already said, and I'm sure 1,000,001 other people in their anti-hauls have said, I mean, it's nothing against the brands themselves. It's just that these particular products just do not appeal, and if you feel like you want to get these products, go right ahead. Like, this isn't me saying you can't get it. Like, get what you want. Everybody has a different taste, and obviously this appeals to somebody, but that somebody just really isn't me. Next is the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette, and I really like the packaging. I really like it's like a church window shape kind of palette, and her designs are always quite artistic because she is an artist, but the shadows themselves just seem so random. It just seems like they've just been thrown into the palette with no rhyme or reason, and to me that's kind of off-putting. When I look at palettes, they have to kind of have some kind of sense to them, otherwise it just looks like chaos. Sometimes, I mean, like for example, the Kylie Vacation palette, that was kind of random, but it still kind of made sense. It was almost like it was organized chaos. But this Saint and Sinner palette, it just looks like chaos, and I just can't get down with it. The swatches of the palette that I've seen are really nice, and even though I do tend to draw more toward like browns, reds, oranges when I'm doing my eye makeup, I do sometimes do different colors. I can do blues, greens, purples, shimmers, glitters, mattes. I can do all of that without fear of using those colors, because there's some people who just don't like to use color at all. They just prefer to stay kind of natural and neutral, but I don't really mind to step outside of the box, so that's not the problem at all. It's just the fact that they just look so randomly thrown into the palette, and I would kind of be like, okay. On top of that, she's already done palettes like the Mi Vida Loca remix. I didn't get that palette, but it kind of resembles it in the fact that it's so colourful. And I've also got like a Kiko palette that I've put together, my own custom one, and an Inglot palette that I've put together myself also, and both of those contain very bright colours. And I've also got like the BH Cosmetics Take Me to Brazil palette, which has a lot of colour, so I don't really see much point in buying another another colourful palette when I've already got like plenty of colourful palettes to choose from. It will just be a waste. It will probably just sit there for a while. And I even got the pastel goth palette that she made, that Kat Von D made, and I barely reached for it. And I understand that the pastels are still colourful, but the pastels are pastels. They're not the same as the Saint and Sinner palette, but they're still colourful shades. And if I'm not reaching for those, then what's the point in me getting this when I'm probably not going to reach for these either? So next is the Anastasia Prism palette. It's just not something that I look at and say, like, I don't look at it and draw inspiration from it. There's certain palettes that I'll look at and I'm just kind of like, I'm inspired straight away. I mean, the Subculture palette, I didn't get that one, but I did get a dupe for it, which was the I Heart Makeup Mint Chocolate palette, which I've recently reviewed, and that was like it was literally a dupe for that Subculture palette. And I just, as soon as I looked at it, I had so much inspiration and I had so much fun trying to do all kinds of different looks with it on and off camera. But this particular palette, I just don't, I'm not drawing any inspiration from it at all whatsoever. I mean, I like to look at a palette and think, okay, I can create this. Even if it's like not a palette that I can use on its own, I may have to draw shades from other palettes. I can at least start thinking about what I would like to create. And when I look at this one, I just draw, not that I draw a blank, but it's just not something where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm inspired, I'm gonna do something brand new with it. I just don't feel like that, so I'd rather just pass on that one too. Next is the Shan XO Remix palette. Okay, so I did a review on the Shan XO palette. Now, the original one was 9 eyeshadow shades on one side and 9 lip shades on the other. And I think I did a couple of videos on the Shan XO palette, which I'll link below. And I'm just a little bit, I think with this, they're trying to follow Carly Bible formula. And when I say formula, I don't mean eyeshadow formula. I mean, Carly Bible came out with her original palette, and then she came out with another palette which was a little bit bigger. Now, the one which was a little bit bigger had some of the shades from the original palette as well as a few additional shades. So there was a reason to get the second one, as well as them not having to work on as many brand new shades, because there were some of the original shades in the new palette. So with the Shan XO Remix palette, it's the first side is the eyeshadows from the original palette, and on the other side, instead of it being the lip colors, it's 9 additional new shades for eyeshadow. So that's where I'm just kind of like, do I really want to do that? Because I've already got a palette with all 9 of her shades and lip shades. Do I now need to go and buy this additional palette just for an additional 9 shades, but I'm still rebuying the first 9 shades which I already have? So is it really worth me doing that? And right now I'm just kind of coming to the conclusion of no. I'm probably gonna wait. I mean, I think it's like $18.99 or something like that on the BH Cosmetics website. I haven't even bought the second Carly Bible palette, and I'm interested in it, but I haven't bought it yet because I'm not too sure if it's something that I really do want to invest in. I really do like the first one, and I still draw for the first one every now and then, but I haven't even gotten her second one. But the Shan XO Remix palette, I'm just really not too sure if that's what I want to even explore, because I'm gonna have 2 of the exact same on one side. Like, that is kind of boggling my mind. So I'll probably wait to see if BH will have a sale. They always have sales, but obviously not on their brand new stuff. They wait a while before they do any sales on their brand new stuff. It will most likely come to Beauty Bay, because Beauty Bay have recently stopped the Carly Bible, the bigger, her second palette. They've recently stopped that. I think it's like £22 or something like that, and I still haven't reached for it. But I don't know. But right now my mind is saying nah. Next is the Taupe Knot palette by Violet Voss. It just looks like everything that has ever been released ever, and I'm just kind of like, but we have this. It just doesn't come across original. So I just have to say no. No, it's okay, Violet. You can keep your stuff. That's just not for me this time around. It's really not. Next is the MAC Snowball collection. Now, when I look at this collection, I love the packaging. I think it's beautiful. But what I'm finding is that it looks like just repackaged stock, if that makes sense to you. Like it just looks like stuff that they've had in the back that they have not yet sold, and they've decided, okay, let's put it in new casing and let's sell it, and people will buy it. People will buy it like they're Mac. Kidding me? And people live for their holiday collections. I mean, but to me it just comes across like repackaged stuff that they've sold 1,000,001 times. It's just not original to me. If you want it just for the packaging, I completely understand that, but I'm trying to stop looking at things solely for the packaging, because I think a lot of the time for me, I have found that especially within the last year and a half, it's like, oh, I'll want something simply because the packaging is cute. And it's like, okay, but the stuff inside, is that something that I would normally buy? And I've got to be honest with myself, and some of the time it's like, well, no. Or some of the time it's like, well, I already have things which are so similar. It's like, what am I doing? So I'm trying to like stop myself from buying things solely on packaging. I mean, packaging still means something to me, but I'm trying not to let that be like my be-all end-all reason to why I buy something. And it's proven to be difficult, but I am definitely being strict with myself. Okay, next is the vibrating makeup sponge. Why do we need a vibrating makeup sponge? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Mate, look, there are some makeup sponges which are the bomb.com. I only really tend to use makeup sponges for when I'm putting on my concealer under my eyes, just to blend it out a little bit. But aside from that, I don't use makeup sponges. I mean, I think I've probably only a handful of times used a makeup sponge to apply like a full face. I do prefer to use a foundation brush, just a regular foundation brush. I prefer just to use like a really cheap foundation brush just to apply my foundation, and then use like the artiste looking brush to blend it in. And I just find that works so well. Like, I can control how much I'm using. I'm not using as much product, and I'm just pressing it into the skin, and it just works. So I'm trying. I don't feel like I need to get no vibrating makeup sponge. I feel like very, very gimmicky. I feel like it would be a waste of my money. I'm just not here for it. Okay, I'd rather be saving my money for something which is much more important, and that's just not it. Okay, next is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Palette. Now, this palette looks just like every other highlighting palette which is out there, and I think that's going to be like one of the most repetitive reasons that I use in my anti-haul, is that things are just looking so similar. And I think that it's just that you've got like Anastacio has their glow kits, and some of them are great, but then somebody else will come out with one which is the exact same but it's just their brand, and then another one will come out with something which is the exact same but just their brand. And I just feel like we're just repeating the same things over and over and over again, but it's just one brand has their different packaging, and they have their different packaging, and they have their different packaging, and it just gets to a point where it's like, okay, but I'm just repeating myself 1,000 times. So I'm trying to, I mean, when it comes to highlight, how many different shades of highlight can you get? I mean, you can get silver, you can get gold, you can get bronze, you can get pink. Those are like the main 4 kind of shades. Then you do have the more obscure shades like purple, blue, green, orange. And yes, you can have, just like with eyeshadow shades, you can have a gold eyeshadow, but it's more yellow gold, and then you can have another gold where it's more of like a reddish kind of gold. So you can have like different undertones and stuff like that. So with highlighters, it works the same. You can have a gold which is a lot lighter, gold which is a little bit more red, a little bit more orange, because you have to suit all kinds of different skin tones. But at the end of the day, I just find that we're just repeating the same shades over and over and over again. It's just that they have different packaging from different brands, and I'm really just waiting to find something brand new, not just with highlighters, just in general. It's just like, what's the new big thing? What's the new innovative thing? Like, what is it? I don't know. Next is the Daily Press palette by The Balm, and this palette just looks boring as hell. Okay, it looks boring. I think there's like 8 shades at the top which are shimmers, and 4 which are mattes, and those ones I guess would be like your crease shades and stuff like that. But it's just neutral colors, nothing that we haven't already seen before. I don't know, it's just not again, I can pull loads of my palettes and find probably the exact same shades in duplicate and triplicate from all these other palettes that I have. I mean, as I have said, I'm probably going to do a full makeup collection video by the end of the year, so you can see everything that I have. I have definitely slowed down on how much I'm purchasing. I don't find that I'm purchasing as much anymore, simply because I find that we're just repeating ourselves 1,000,001 times, and I just don't find this palette inspiring at all. But I just don't find it inspiring. Next is the Sugar Glow Kit by Anastacio. Now, I'm a collector of the palettes, and I have the Sweets palette. Now, this is where I got a little bit confused, because the Sweets palette, a few of the shades, I recognize the names in the Sugar Glow Kit palette. And I was like, hold on, but those shades are also in the Sweets palette. So what is different about the Sugar Glow Kit palette? Like, what's the difference between the sweets and the sugar? And it looks like they have a couple of the shades from the Sweets Glow Kit, one shade from one of the other glow kits, like the Sun Dipped or whatever, and then one new one. So if you already have all of the other glow kits, you're really only getting one new shade. Does that make sense? So two of the shades are from the Sweets palette, one of the other shades is from one of the other glow kits, and then the last shade is a brand new one. So that just makes me feel kind of like the whole Chantecaille remix palette. It comes under that kind of situation, like I'm just rebuying the same thing I already have just so I can get one thing new or a couple of things new, and I don't know if that's worth it. I don't believe that is worth it. They've also come out with some blush palettes as well. I think they came up with like 2 blush palettes. They're cute. I've got a couple of blush palettes, but I don't tend to really use blush palettes too much. I think I've probably got about 3 blush palettes in total, and I do normally like reach for my singles and I forget the blush palettes altogether generally. So I just feel like having the blush palettes will also just be a waste, but they do look cute. They don't look anything spectacular. Also, the Maybelline Gigi Hadid collection, that to me is just not people of color friendly. I understand that Maybelline would model it on her, and obviously she's a very fair skinned woman, but it was not developed to suit somebody like myself, so I'm not going to reach for that at all. There's just absolutely no point. But it looks nice, but it's just not catered for my kind of skin tone, so we're gonna give that one a pass. Last is the Candy Split collection by Kiko. I don't know if they still have it now, but they did send me a few notifications on this, and like it's so gimmicky. It's so gimmicky. It's just one of those cutesy wootsy packaging oriented products. I mean, I think the makeup sponges look like macaroons, and when I'm looking at them I'm thinking to myself, how am I supposed to use those? Like, the shape of them just do not look. I don't believe that I'll be able to use those beauty sponges like properly. I'm not going to be able to use them and get good use out of them because they're just not shaped very, very well from what I saw. It's just very, very gimmicky, and I understand like there's just people who are just solely drawn to products based on packaging, and that's it. And again, I'm just trying to come away from that, so I'm just going to give that a pass as well. There's so many other things that I've seen that I'm just like, nope. And I'm really being strict on myself. I'm trying so hard not to fall for it, and I'm doing well. But if there is anything that you do definitely want to see that is because of the actual product, not just because of the way the product look in its packaging in all its glory, then do let me know down below, and I think if it's something that does appeal to me, then I'll get it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe and put me on notification, and I'll see you in the next one.